Students, welcome for the session, and in this lecture we are going to study about evidences of evolution. This is the part 3 of heredity and evolution. Yes, the next point that we are going to study is evidences of evolution. Already we have studied about what is evolution, what is heredity, what is transcription, translation, translocation, all the processes we have studied about. And to study more about the evolution, we need to understand what are evidences of evolution. Evidences of evolution is nothing but which proves how evolution took place. And it is for sure that there is a process of evolution in the living life. Due to that, living organisms are changing day to day, day by day, very slowly, and this change can be seen after years. Why? Because our Earth's environment is also continuously changing. So, due to the man-made activities, due to pollution, the environment is changing very fast, and by nature, naturally, also there is a change in the environment or environmental conditions. So for sure there is a evolution. And what is evolution? It is a gradual change in the living life and the living organisms. So which things can prove this? The evolution is existing process and that changes the life on the earth. Yes, let me explain. The first evidence that we are going to study is morphological evidence. So what is morphological evidence? The evidence that is all related with the body characters, physical characters of the living organism. So what is it? Let me tell you very simple example of dog, sheep and fox. If we compare the morphological characters of the dog, sheep and fox, then you can find the similarities and also dissimilarities. So what are the similarities? I will tell you first of all. If you see the face of dog, sheep and fox, it is covered with the hairs. Yes. The face of the dog is also covered with the hairs. Sheep, yes. Fox is also yes. The arrangement of the face, that is also same. Mouth, nose, the location of the ears on the top of the head. Okay, so arrangement of the face of both of all the fox, sheep and dog is also same. Eyes are on the same location, nose is on the same location, mouth is on the same location, ears are on the same location of all the organisms, dog, sheep and fox. So this is the similarity that we can compare with each other in different organisms. Yeah, there are few different characters that can be seen in the dog, sheep and fox because these are very different kind of animals. They have much diverse different functions and they live in different habitat also. They eat different food, but even they share the same morphological characters. So that is called as morphological evidence. So it's this similarities in the among the animal suggest that all these organisms are evolved from one common ancestor. Okay, so one common ancestor evolved into different organisms, different species due to different environmental conditions and they change into different organisms. But the origin of this organism is same. That is why they are sharing this similar characters. Even in case of plants, what is the case? That if you see the tree of mango, orange, guava, What similarities you can find? All the plants have root, stem, leaves. Even though they are different species of plants, they produce different fruits, but even they have similarities. What are the similarities? The plant body is divided into root, stem, and leaf. All the plants have branches. Branches have leaves, and if you compare the leaves of all the plants, they have near about similar uh, characteristics. That is the shape of the leaf, the ratchets present in the leaf, midrib is present in the leaf. This all are same characters. So why? Because all the plants are evolved from one common ancestor. They are sharing one common ancestor. So morphological characters act as a morphological evidence to understand the process of evolution. Next evidence of evolution that we are going to study is anatomical evidences. What is meaning of anatomical evidence? Internal body structures. Internal structures of the body and how they are similar with each other in different organisms, that we are going to study anatomical evidences. Means the internal endoskeleton of the various organisms we can compare over here. Yes. So what are these anatomical evidences? Let us study. If you take the example of hand of human, limb of ox, front limb of the ox, then fin of the whale, and patagium of the bat. Patagium of the bat means it is the internal structure of the wing-like structure of bat. So it is the patagium of bat. So what I can find over here, that hand of the human, limb of the ox, fin of the whale, and patagium of the bat. These are the organs of various or different organisms, and they perform different functions. Human use hand for eating, for taking support, for picking up any object, and many more things. So it can be used for many more purposes. Limb of the ox, it can be used for standing, walking, sitting, taking support. Okay, so it has limited functions. Fin of the whale can be used for swimming because whale lives in the water. Patagium of the bat is used for flying because it is wing-like structure. It is a wing of the bat, so it is used for flying. So all these organs of the different organisms have different functions, and what we are studying over here is the same characters, evolutionary evidences. So what is the evolution of evidence over here is hand of human, limb of ox, fin of whale, and patagium of bat. If we compare the internal structures, bones and joints, the arrangement of the bone and the joints are very similar. What I am saying, let me repeat. The internal structure of these various different organs of different organisms have same arrangement or similar arrangement of bones and joints. That proves that this all different organisms also share one common ancestor. So they are evolved from one common ancestor. So this is also second anatomical evidences which gives the information of evolution. Yeah. Third is vestigial organ. Let me tell you about what is vestigial organ. Vestigial organ is the organs present in the body of organism, but they do not carry out any function. Means organs are still present in the body, but they cannot carry out any kind of function. They are uh, inactive, they are dormant, they are not carrying out any function but still present in the body. That is called as vestigial organ, non-functional organs. And why they are non-functional? Because they are degenerated. Why they are degenerated? Because they are not used by the organism for many thousands of years. Due to that, the energy and the activity of that organ is decreased to 0%, and that is why if that organ is not used at all, then that organ in the body starts degenerating, and once it starts degenerating, then it decreases in the size, and that organ are called as vestigial organs. They are non-functional organs. And why this degeneration occurs? Because the organisms uh, don't use these organs now. Why they don't use these organs now? Because they are evolved and adapted to the changed environmental conditions, and for that it need new adaptations, development of new body characters. That is why these old functions or old organs are degenerated. There are few examples of vestigial organs. Appendix of the human is vestigial organ, which is present in the joint of large and small intestine. It is appendix, and it is totally non-functional in human being. Nictitating membrane is present in the still in the human. Just the part of the nictitating membrane is present in the corner of the eye of the human being. What is nictitating membrane? It is the transparent membrane which covers the eye when the organism want to see in the water, inside the water, or in the uh, very fastly flowing air while flying. So it is present in the aquatic organisms, amphibious organisms, and birds, and it was present in the human being, but now it is degenerating. Next is tailbone of the human being. Previously tail was present in the human being, but as humans started walking on two legs, there was no use of the tail, so it is degenerated, but the bone of the tail is still present in the body of human. It is called as focus. Next is ear muscle called pinna. This is also present in human being. This muscle is used for movement of ears, that is usually done by the animals. You have seen in the dog, fox, and many other animals. They move their ears easily with the help of pinna, ear muscle. It was also present in the human being, but now it is degenerate. Next is wisdom teeth. Wisdom teeth comes or grows in human being in very adult stage, and which is not useful to the human being for achieving purposes or for any purposes. So it is vestigial organ. Next evidence of evolution is paleontological evidence. What is that paleontological evidence? Means the evidence from fossil. So what is fossil? Fossil is the remnant or remaining part of the dead organisms, and this dead organism died far in the history, very thousands of years ago. They died and they were buried into the layers of the soil, and due to that it acts as a fossil, and the ancient species which were present in the past history, that can be seen now. uh, Whenever the fossil we have obtained the fossil from the ground, when in the process of mining or any process of just digging, um, we get the fossils. And what happens when we get the fossil? We can compare the remnants of that species of organism, and we can correlate that species with the present species, and we can identify that what are the adaptations that can be seen in such organism. So this gives the information about the evolution, how the organism was previously present, which characters was present, how the anatomical structure was of that organism found in the process of digging or in the mining as a fossil. So we can compare the anatomical structure of this fossil with the present species of the organism. And also there is another process to identify the evidence of evolution, that is called as carbon dating. This is also a helpful process to understand the process of evolution, and we get the evidence of evolution. This process is developed by scientist Willard Libby. Okay, and what is the process carbon dating? When organism is alive, there is a carbon consumption, continuous carbon consumption. But once the organism is dead, means once the organism is dead, what happens? There's no carbon consumption. Huh? Carbon consumption totally stops. And what happens then? After the death of the organism, there is a process of carbon decay. This is a process called as carbon decay. What happens in the carbon decay? The C14 radioactive carbon starts decaying in the process of uh, carbon decay. As time passes, there is a continuous carbon decay. So when carbon decay starts, then there is a decrease in the concentration of C14, and C14 is radioactive carbon and C12 is not radioactive carbon. So radioactive carbon goes under carbon decay process, and the concentration of C14 is continuously keep on decreasing. And whenever the fossil is obtained, what is done? The concentration of C14 is compared with the concentration of C12, carbon 12, and this comparison gives about the information that how old the fossil is. So this also gives a lot of information about the fossil, that what kind of organism is that and how old it is, and in which era it was present, and then we can identify that in that particular area these organisms were there. So it may be possibly this kind of a species, and we can compare that species with the present species, and we get the evidence of evolution. In such way, paleontological evidences act as a evolutionary evidence. Next is connecting link. In connecting link, certain organisms act as a connecting link between two different species, two different group of organism. Let me tell you, first example is a peripatus. Peripatus is an organism which act as a link between uh, this phylum Annelida and phylum Arthropoda. Phylum Annelida is a group of different organism, and Arthropoda is a group of different organisms. So Arthropoda, what is the characteristics of Arthropoda? That body have hard covering of tergum, and joint appendages. We can see joint appendages in arthropoda, and in annelids the unique character that we can see is the segmented body. Body is segmented, ring-like structures are present on the body. So this both characters, body, arthropoda, that it has the segmented, not joint appendages, and annelids have ring-like structures, segmented body. So both these characters are seen in the peripatus. So peripatus have both characters, segmented body as well as joint appendages. So it is connecting link between annelids and arthropoda. Another organism example I would like to tell you is lungfish. Lungfish, the name itself tells us about it has the lung for breathing. So it is connecting link between the aquatic and terrestrial organisms because it lives in the water and it can breathe in the air like terrestrial organism. So it is the link in between aquatic and terrestrial organism. Next example is duckbill platypus. Duckbill platypus is again very unique organism, act as a connecting link between reptile and mammal. Why? Because the character of reptile is to give the eggs. They lay eggs. Mammal, they have mammary glands for feeding the young one, for feeding the milk to the young one, and also body is covered by the hairs. So both the characters can be seen in the duckbill platypus. Body is covered by the hair and mammary glands are present for feeding young one, and it lays the egg. So it also acts as a connecting link between two different group of organism, and this suggests us that the organism present is link between two different organism, and it is the evidence of evolution, because in the process of evolution what these organisms have adapted themselves, that they possess the characters of two different organisms, two different classes of organisms, or two different phylums. uh, the characters of two different phylums can be seen in the one organism. So it is what adaptation, and adaptation, why? Because there is a evolution. So this also acts as a evidence of evolution. Here we are studying just evolution. If organism is changing the character, then there's for sure evolution. And the last evidence of evolution is embryological evidence. If you take the example of the embryo of fish, embryo of chick, embryo of the tortoise, embryo of pig, cow, human, you can find the initial developmental stages of the embryo is near about same. They are all same. If you take the embryo of all these different organisms and if you compare, they look same, near about approximately same, and for several another stages they are as it is, they are very similar, and just near to the final stage they change their body structures. So this is also a evolutionary evidence of evolution, because all the embryos of different organisms appear same. So it suggests that these are different organisms but they share common ancestors. They are evolved, developed from one common ancestor. But why they evolved very differently and developed very differently? Because as the organism increased the population, same type of organism increased the population and increased the number, these different organisms went to different places, different geographical conditions in the search of food, and these different places have different geographical and environmental conditions. Due to that, they changed their body characters, and this change in the body characters gave rise to different type of organisms. So it acts as the evidences of evolution. So it is very important that all the six evidences suggest us about the process of evolution. If you have any doubts, you can ask it directly on the WhatsApp group or you can call. So if you have any doubt regarding the topic, you have to ask it and clear it. Thank you.